is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined tonight by the Queen of England, James Sasanti, back here once again to review another episode of AEW Dynamite. Interesting episode because we're a few weeks out from All In, and we're also a few weeks out from Forbidden Door, but we haven't really been able to get the New Japan wrestlers over since they are currently doing the G1. So mostly focused on the self-contained stories of AEW at the moment, and the through thread for the evening was MJF. So we're going to start at the top of the show, work our way through his stuff, and then double back, talk about everything else. And we actually started with Max delivering a backstage promo addressing his match for the evening. So holding his new CMLL World Championship, which he renamed apparently according to Excalibur, MJF started by calling out Seabiscuit for not letting him get a title match unless he executes his contract, saying that because of that, one of Hangman's good friends is now going to have to pay. Max then turns his attention to that good friend in Mark Briscoe, referencing Briscoe's promo last week, where Mark said that he was afraid he was never going to see his brother up in heaven, with Max saying that he is the devil, in case everyone forgot, and there's no problem sending Mark straight to hell or straight back to hell in Dumpster Diver, Delaware. MJF then says that Mark can go back home to being a loser, a chicken farmer, and a blue-collar bitch who is not a good wrestler or championship material, but rather some blue-collar trash who got lucky. And tonight, Mark's luck is going to run out. We had that from Max. James, if you want to comment on any of that before we get to the next bit.
You nailed it. That was beautiful. Bravo.
All right. So then a little bit later in the evening, we actually went backstage with the Hurt Syndicate when it was supposed to start as an interview with them following the AEW World Tag Team Title Eliminator Tournament semifinal match. So Renee asked the Syndicate about that match that they had just watched and the quick coming together of Bandido and how good they have been in a short amount of time. And MVP talks about that they look great, and he's very excited to face either them or FTR at Forbidden Door, where either way, they will get hurt. MJF then comes in, and that causes Bobby and Shelton Benjamin to quickly leave the room, leaving just MJF and MVP. And Max tells MVP that he's known him since he was 18 years old, and they don't need Bob or Shelton get this thing done. But MVP cuts him off, saying that this is what MJF has failed to understand ever since he joined the Syndicate. It was supposed to be we hurt people, but it has only been me for Max the entire time. Therefore, MVP has to give him the third and final thumbs down, but in an act of mercy, because
It was quite merciful.
It was. Because MVP does love MJF like a little brother. He says that they will leave Max in one piece so that he can continue to pursue his big, beautiful belts. Max is like, all right, I get it. It's not personal. It's just business, right? But MVP responds that it is not. In fact, despite loving MJF, MVP says that he hopes Max fails in his pursuit because if he succeeds, then Bobby Lashley will be coming for him, and that will indeed be personal. So we now have MJF officially out of the Hurt Syndicate. Wow. Well, okay, he's got to be careful should he actually win the title, because I think sooner or later Bobby's coming for him either way. But
it would be funny if Bobby went for the title before ever dealing with MJF, just for the absurdity of it. But he's gonna cross paths with Max sooner than later. He has to.
WWE in my head just immediately went down the line. Bobby beats Hangman for the title, and then Max cashes in his contract on Bobby. I don't see that happening, but it would be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The other segment we had before this match, main event match involving it, was a backstage interview with Mark Briscoe in the right before the final commercial break of the evening, or before the final match of the evening. Anyway, so Alicia's back there, and she asks Mark about the upcoming match. And Briscoe says, I believe he said the word of the day was behind us. I didn't quite make out what he said, but that's what it sounded like, even though there's 2 words. Anyway, he says that the time for talk is over, and he's going to let his fists do the talking. Alicia then asks about Mark possibly winning tonight, which would make it a 4th straight main event win for him and could possibly earn him a world title shot. And before he can answer that, Hangman Adam Page comes over and says that he's known Mark for about 13 years now, and has always looked up to, both respected him and his brother, but more so him in these past few years with everything that Mark has gone through. So he hopes that Briscoe wins tonight and then can go on to challenge him for the championship. And then he wishes Briscoe luck before shaking his hand and leaving. And that leads us to the main event of the evening, which was MJF versus Mark Briscoe. And this is a good match, but it was a lot of cat and mouse between MJF and Briscoe, with Briscoe getting in seemingly what was a lot of offense and then going for a big move, mostly the Froggy Bow. MJF being able to escape it and then get in his offense with some counter wrestling before Briscoe eventually is able to go back on the offensive. Eventually, Briscoe is able to finally hit that Froggy Bow, but he's a little too beat up to get a quick pinfall out of it, so that allows MJF to kick out. So Briscoe takes MJF, brings him back to the outside where he had previously set up a table, and Mark puts MJF on there, goes to the top rope, and attempts to hit another Froggy Bow. However, MJF is able to roll out of the way, and Briscoe goes crashing through the table. The ref then goes for the 10 count, as we say hi to Maria, what's up? After MJF rolls back in the ring and demands it, and Mark is barely able to get up on the apron as the 10 count is reached, where he is met by an MJF knee, and that is followed up by a heat seeker. MJF then rolls Briscoe back into the ring, goes for the pinfall, gets the 1-2-3, but Mark's foot is on the ropes. However, referee Bryce Remsburg is facing the wrong way and focusing squarely on the shoulders and frankly out of position. So very rare for Remsburg. He's a very good ref, but with Remsburg out of position, MJF is able to get the win, and then he secures that in its entirety by knocking Mark's foot off of it before Remsburg can turn around and see it. So, James, before we get into the post-match shenanigans, again, I like this match. It was a little bit slow because they kind of did doing the same thing with that cat and mouse stuff, but I thought it really picked up at the end, and I quite liked the finish because I thought it was a very clever way of MJF really getting this almost cheap and scummy win after, to borrow a phrase from Don Callis, losing on the cards throughout most of the match.
Yeah, it protects Mark enough, and it pushes MJF enough as someone who's unworthy of going for the title. So all of that works. All of that makes sense. I agree with Maria, though. I did find it to be a little lame just because it makes Bryce look so inept. It makes him look like a bad referee. Like, to not see something like that is just so basic. It's not like if Max had done something that Bryce couldn't see, that's different. But this was just something that Bryce didn't see and didn't act on. So it just makes him look like an inadequate referee. So I'm not crazy about that so much. The match itself was fine, but I had trouble with it because of the promos, how good the promos were, how good the build-up for this feud was. Because the build-up to the feud was Mark cannot wait to get his hands on Max. So much so, he's afraid he's not going to get into heaven for what he's going to do to him. And overall, this was just a regular match with a table.
Yeah.
With a table spot. So I feel like I understand why the match didn't have a stipulation because it defeats the purpose of what they're trying to do. But overall, I think it hurt Mark more than anything. It just like, okay, this was it. This was the fire you were bringing to this match. So a little conflicted on it. I think the match in itself in a vacuum is fine. I think the match itself in a vacuum was a fun TV main event. And I appreciate the setup that they're doing for Hangman and Max. It's weird. Like, I know there was so much build up to Hangman Max well before Hangman ever won the title. Like, they've been planting the seeds for this feud for quite some time. But it almost feels like this feud still feels kind of undercooked. And I don't know why. Maybe because it's only, it still isn't official that he's getting the title match yet. Like, even after tonight, it's not official he's getting the title match.
Yeah, as of now, I've seen, no, it's not.
So, I don't know. I would rather they just make it official and then they work from there, build some heat off of it. But overall, I feel bad because I want to criticize it because it's not bad. It just does feel like a heaping pile of fine.
Which I don't want to jinx anything, but that's kind of what we got out of Hangman's first title reign with a heaping pile of fine. So I think we all want a very good to great reign for Hangman here, and starting with fine maybe not be the best, as we say, how do you know it? I will agree with you on the match. I do think it lacks some of the emotion that we were expecting.
The intensity.
Exactly. Like I said, it was a bit cat and mouse. So like that, there was that kind of part of it where, Briscoe was constantly going after MJF, and it cost him on more than one occasion back with Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd's an idiot, but he also just says dumb shit to get clicks. So he knows what he's doing. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, the cat and mouse, it would cost Briscoe occasionally. So I guess there was kind of that. But at the same time, I wanted Briscoe getting a whole lot more, big comeback spots and stuff like that. And it just never really got above here until he went through the table. And then that was the finish. So, or it led directly into the finish. So I see what you're saying, like a good match in a vacuum, but you either A, need a little bit more here, or B, need a stipulation.
Yeah.
Which then leads me to the question, do we get a stipulation match? Or do we think that's it for this feud?
I don't think that's it for this feud. Like, I think Mark is still going to be entrenched in the feud with Max. But I think we're not going to get another match until after Hangman Max.
So, yeah. So let's talk about what happened after the match so we can get a little bit more into that. Afterwards, and after Max saved his ass by pulling Mark's foot off the rope, Max went after Briscoe, beating him down and eventually hitting him with the Dynamite Diamond Ring and busting him open. That then leads to Hangman Adam Page coming out, and the two start brawling on the ramp until security breaks it up, and that allows MJF to escape into the crowd. Hangman then convinces the security to let him go check on Mark. You can actually hear him yelling, "Let me check on Mark, let me check on Mark." And eventually he goes into the ring to find him all bloodied. And as he is checking on him, MJF circles back around near the ringside area to once again start talking shit to Hangman. However, there's no security between the two of them, and Hangman makes a beeline, jumps over the barricade, and restarts the brawl with MJF. The two battle back and forth, with Max continuously just throwing security guys at Hanger and Hangman just throwing them aside until he eventually catches up to MJF. And then eventually the two fight their way back to ringside, with Hangman throwing MJF over the barricade and then into the ring. Hanger then takes off his jacket, and he seems to be setting up for a buckshot lariat, but MJF is able to roll out of the ring as security eventually gets into it and is able to separate the two as we went off the air. I think almost 13 minutes of overrun.
Wowza. And even then, it was so funny that they went the 13 minutes over, and it felt in the last few seconds that they realized they needed to cut. They needed to.
Yeah, they put the graphic up as Hangman was taking off the jacket. I was like, are they not going to show this buckshot? Yeah. And then they left it there, and then they finally they were probably like, Matt, get the fuck out of the ring. We have to go home. And then they were finally able to get out of it.
I thought it played very real. It played very real and realistic. Like, this isn't about the TV show. This is about
Their hatred
for one another, their animosity. So I like that aspect of it. And I want to go back to something you said, which I agree with the concern about how Hangman's first title reign just sort of felt fine, and we're worried about that now for this reign. I already think there is something that greatly differentiates the two. Just absolutely differentiates the two. And that's the fact that
Punk isn't there? No, I'm kidding.
don't you just love when good things happen to people? Don't you love when karma hits, like at SummerSlam? Loved it. Loved it.
Well, Rollins did started using the ripcord. Oh, no, that was a Kenny thing, but he was using the lariat with the ripcord. So, I don't know. He stole something from Hangman. I can't remember what it was.
Seth? All right,
He's definitely a Hangman fan.
Yeah, that's a separate pod. That's a separate episode. Hangman has a level of confidence. He feels like a champion now in a way he did not feel like the guy when he held the title the first time. He felt like the guy who won the title. Now he feels like the champion. He feels like the guy.
Yeah.
So
character work is so much better.
Exactly. No matter what happens with the title reign, I'd say immediately this is already a better title reign than the first one.
I think that's fair.
At least in terms of Hangman's representation.
That's very fair. I think you got a good point there. Well, going back to what you were saying earlier about it kind of just feeling fine, in terms of the feud between Hanger and MJF, I also don't necessarily know when and where their match is going to take place.
Yeah.
If one takes place outside of MJF executing the contract. Because it's been Hangman's prerogative to not give MJF a match, unless he earns it or he uses the contract. And maybe this leads to Hangman being goaded into a match.
I will be so upset if he does.
But yeah, I wouldn't like that. I feel like it would be better to force MJF to either, continue to earn it by beating more people or execute the contract like he's been saying, because it would immediately make Hangman look like the dumb babyface when he has clearly been the smart babyface dating back to the Moxley feud and everything running up to that.
100%.
So I'm hoping that this tension rather just kind of simmers underneath and occasionally boils over before we either end up with MJF earning a match or using the contract, rather than, he's getting a match right now and then he'll get a match later when he uses a contract. Or they do something really stupid and MJF loses and then uses the contract and then loses immediately, like right after the match ends.
I don't want that to happen. I want, if they do the cash in immediately after the match, Max needs to win.
Yeah.
He needs to win.
Like Hangman beats Max and then Max beats Hangman because he beats the shit out of him or whatever.
Yeah, because it's such a good concept that has never been properly executed yet. Like we've never seen a Money in the Bank winner or a contract holder of any kind fail and then immediately cash in.
Because they're so rarely in title matches to begin with that you can barely see it. The only time I remember, because somebody brought this up on Reddit the other day, of having a Money in the Bank holder in a title match, I think was the Brock Cena Seth triple threat.
All right, different one. Okay, that's another one. Yeah,
there was that match.
I remember when Bryan, before he ever won a world title in WWE, when he was Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, he had the blue briefcase, right?
Yeah, he had a match or two with Mark Henry, who was the champion at the time. And he kept losing until Big Show finally took the title off of him. And then Henry dropped Big Show, and then Bryan just immediately cashed in on Big Show. Right. But there are a couple of instances, but never to the point of success.
Yeah, so it could be interesting, but even then, I would almost hope that you're right, that it does, that it does end Hangman's reign. So that would need to happen way further down the line. So it's interesting that they are pushing this so hard now when I do think if MJF is the guy to take the title off Hangman, that they're doing a lot of this now instead of later.
I agree. I said from the get-go, and this is sort of where I was going before, so thank you for helping me find my point. I know that they had done so much laying the groundwork for this to get here even before Hangman won the title. I just wish they hadn't jumped at it so quickly into the title reign. There are just guys there are just situations that when a guy wins a title, certain people are just not going to immediately lose it. And I would be shocked if Hangman immediately lost. Like, I don't think there's any world where Hangman loses to the first contender.
Yeah.
Or the second contender. So a little upset that they did Max so early. But, I mean, hey, Mr. Happy Gilmore Jr., they probably wanted to strike while the iron was hot.
That's fair. Have him in a prominent position on the show. But even then, like, you can have him just in a prominent position. You have this feud with Briscoe. He could always be lurking around Hangman without actually, maybe always getting involved. But I think also, too, you see that you have the same thing kind of playing out on the women's side. Now, I know they've already announced that Athena is going to cash in her contract at Forbidden Door. So there is that. But you have both of these contract winners going straight at the champions at the same time, right after they win it. So I don't want to call it repetitive because they're doing two very clearly different things with them. But at the same time, it is slightly redundant, and I would have liked to see a little more differentiation there. Just, for variety's sake.
I agree.
All right, so that was the whole MJF thing. So let's get back to the top of the show, where our opening match saw Jon Moxley face off against Speedball Mike Bailey in a one-on-one banger of a match. It was a real good match, including Bailey hitting the 450 knee drop onto Mox's back while Mox was draped over the barricade to head into commercial.
Ultima Weapon.
That is Ultimate Weapon. Is it Ultimate Weapon or Ultimo, like the
Ultima
Weapon? Thank you. So see, sometimes Excalibur calls it that, and sometimes he doesn't, and I can't decide if there's one that is specifically that and one that there isn't. Either way, it looked like it hurt. I saw a fan video from right in front of it. That was a really cool angle as well.
Yeah.
Ow. Anyway, a bit later in the match, Speedball hits the Ultimate Weapon again, but on the outside, Kevin Knight and Marina Shafir start getting into it, and that allows for Wheeler Yuta to grab Bailey's, I wrote boot, I should have wrote foot, as the referee gets distracted. And that allows Moxley to get the advantage and goes for a roll-up pin, but Bailey is able to kick out. Right after that, Darby Allin comes running through the crowd with a rag in his hand, puts it around Wheeler's head, drags him over the barricade, and just drags his body through the crowd and out of the building.
Babyface for life, Darby Allin.
Who pretty sure just chloroformed somebody, but okay.
Babyface for life, Darby Allin.
That distraction allows for Bailey to then go for a roll-up of his own that Moxley kicks out of, and then Bailey follows that up with the spinning back kick and then a time adventure, and Moxley is able to kick out of that. Speedball is able to transition the kick out throw right into an arm bar as he had been working over Moxley's arm throughout most of the match. But Moxley, with some nice ground maneuvering, is able to get into the Bulldog choke, draining the life out of Bailey until Mox is able to get him up and then hit a Death Rider for the win. But Mox has no time to celebrate, though, as he and Marina quickly leave through the crowd to go searching for Darby and Wheeler.
Yeah.
So I like this match a lot, James.
I did too.
I wasn't expecting such great chemistry out of these two, but it worked really well.
From what I've seen, Mox does very well with high flyers, or at the very, not necessarily just high flyers, but very fast-paced guys. He tends to do very well. Like, he's always had good chemistry with Seth. He always had good chemistry with Brian. He had great chemistry with AJ. So he tends to do, and he had great chemistry with Kenny. So people who are fast-paced tend to bring out something really special from Mox. And I think this was another example of that. Please go ahead.
A point, though, a lot of those guys you named are also, including Bailey, are great strikers.
Yes,
some of them are high flyers, some of them aren't, but they are very quick strikers, especially guys like Kenny and Bailey. And I think that allows for Moxley, because he loves, having these slugfests where it's still a slugfest, but you're getting the high octane offense of Bailey against Moxley's more methodical striking, which I think is a very cool dynamic in the matchup, and probably why he has such good matches with a lot of those guys.
Yeah. Before I continue, let's hit the comments real quick. Maria saying great back and forth match. Yeah, I'd agree, Maria. This was a great matchup. I'll get into it in a second too.
I thought Bailey had it won quite a few times, especially after that time adventure.
Absolutely. Derek saying really sad Claudio was not at Dynamite and was not at Dynamite tonight when Moxley came out with Marina and Yuta. Hopefully he returns next Wednesday in Cincinnati, Ohio for Moxley's match with Kevin Knight. Yeah, a little weird that he wasn't there. I guess it's better. I guess it serves the story for him to not have been there because Yuta probably wouldn't have gotten kidnapped if he was. But yeah, a little weird that he wasn't there. Hoping he's there next week. Always love seeing Claudio.
Claudio, yeah, I love Claudio, and I'm disappointed when when he's not there. But he's not been there every week recently with the Death Riders, so I don't know what he's up to. Maybe he's doing something else. Maybe he's traveling, different companies, whatever it is. So
he's helping Pac rehab. Really? Yeah.
I like that in kayfabe. Yeah, he's at the dungeon helping Pac rehab.
He threw him in the back to tank. You know it with
quick striker. That's what she said.
Yeah. But going back to what you were saying, what Maria was saying, what we were talking about with this matchup, I think the best matchups are the ones where you forget. We all know what professional wrestling is. We all know how this plays out. And I think on paper, you see a match like Jon Moxley and Speedball, and you're like, Mox is going to win, right? Like,
I wasn't 100%. And especially at the end there, when Darby got kidnapped, I genuinely thought on that time adventure, it was done, because I was like, okay, this seems like a spot where Moxley can finally lose.
And that's my point. Going into this matchup, on paper, for me, former AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, one of the most dangerous men on the roster, versus Speedball Mike Bailey, a high flyer, a striker we all love. Mox needs to get a win back after losing to Hangman last week.
Fair.
So on paper, yes, I went into this like, of course, Mox is going to win. But then the best matches are the ones that make you forget. And I forgot for a second what I was watching. And I thought, wow, Speedball's going to win this. Wow, Darby, oh my God, Speedball's going to win this. And he lost. And damn, Speedball lost. And that's the beauty of what professional wrestling should be. You forget, you get lost in it, and you hope against hope. And even when you think you know the outcome, they still make you care. That's what professional wrestling should be. And I think this match nailed it.
I understood what you're saying by forget, probably because I cut you off, that you forget what, the end is going to be. I was just like, why would you want to forget the match? That doesn't make it a good match. But I'm being an idiot. Derek helpfully pointing out to us that Claudio was indeed at Dynamite last week when he and Yuta tried to interfere. And then you had Darby jump on them, which was really cool during the world title match. So, yeah, he's there. He's just not there. It's almost like every other week at this point. Yeah. I know they had briefly written him off as after Hangman took him out, and then I think he returned at All In. So there was that, which is probably why he hasn't been on as much in just say the last month. But yeah, he's been there the last couple of weeks. He wasn't there tonight. I'm sure he'll be back next week. And also, to go back to another point, I didn't know that Mox First Night got booked for next week. So that's a good match as well. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, no, I'm loving that they're pushing this kid.
Yeah, it's really cool. And Maria's loving the stuff with Darby, and it's great.
I am very intrigued to see how long it's going to be before they put a mic in Darby's hand. To my knowledge, I don't think he's spoken yet. I know he hasn't on Dynamite. I don't think he has on Collision. But this is he's forever going to be attached to him. This is very Sting. This is very WCW NWO Sting, where we just saw Sting for months and months and
it was
months.
A year.
Yeah, and he didn't wrestle. He wasn't really wrestling. He never really spoke. He just came like a silent guardian a watchful protector, a dark knight,
or a crow.
I was doing a thing.
I know.
Anyway, I was doing a thing. You ruined it. Anyway, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Maria's saying that Darby did speak at All In, and that's true, but that was like a pre-tape of him still on the mountain.
Yeah.
So you are correct, technically correct, which is the best kind of correct, Maria.
He hasn't cut a promo though.
Yes.
As far as we know. I'm sure he yelled some stuff at Wheeler tonight. He laughed in Moxley's face, which we'll talk about in a second, a little later in the show. I think he tried to, didn't he? Oh, I think that's where Claudio was. I think he tried to throw Claudio off a fire escape. He did something on Collision with the Death Riders. I don't remember. They were talking about it.
Yeah, that's why Claudio wasn't there.
Yeah.
That's why he threw him down the fire escape.
Yes. So.
Yeah. All right. So, Derek, there you go.
I couldn't remember if it was Claudio or Mox, but he was probably yelling during that segment, but not, again, cutting a promo. So, You're going to hear from Darby, but you're not going to let him have the stick in his hand for now. I'm sure he'll say something eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of Darby, let's just jump to that really quick. After a backstage interview, we went out to the parking lot and we had Moxley and Marina running out there where they found a body bag containing one Wheeler Yuta. Darby then pulled up to Mox in his, I believe it was a Chevy Suburban, and laughed at his face before driving away, while Marina opened the bag to free Yuta, who sold it like he was choking to death, which is cool, and revealed to have a sign that said Forbidden Door on it directed at Moxley. So Darby has laid out the challenge for that pay-per-view. Before that, though, we had gone backstage for an interview with Timeless Tony Storm and Alex Windsor before Windsor's four-way match to qualify for... They really confused the hell out of me with this. But
thank you. I was so confused as to what the hell they were qualifying for.
So this was a four-way match to qualify for a four-way match, which was in four promotion match, an inter-promotional match. And then they later were like, "Oh yeah, it's for the TBS Championship, and Mercedes is in it." And I was like,
I heard that
now
CMLL is going to be involved. New Japan's going to be involved. I think they said Stardom's going to be involved. I think, I don't know. I don't even know who the fourth promotion is. But, that's three.
It'd be if New Japan and Stardom would be two, unless you're counting.
I wasn't sure if Stardom was confirmed for it. That's what I was saying.
Fair. But yeah, either way, it's AEW, probably Ring of Honor. CMLL and New Japan / Stardom would be four, but you already have two AEW women in the match, unless you're counting Windsor as Ring of Honor. Either way, it's confusing, but it's for the TBS Championship. That's what this is for. So Renee asks about that match and Tony's match coming up at Forbidden Door against Athena, and Tony's calls tonight match a menagerie of brawling bitches, saying she used to pray for times like these. Windsor then calls out her opponents before Tony says that if she knows one thing about this non-sexual friendship, it's that you can beat them down, but you can't beat them off. Windsor's like, no, okay, enough, stop. What Tony's trying to say is that you can't give me any lick without me getting my lick back, and oh my God, I'm doing the same thing as Tony. Tony then says it's Windsor's night before they go back to London, where hopefully she can reverse the luck she has had there. And as for Athena, if she wants to whip out her John Hancock and wet the ink, then they can do this right here tonight in Cleveland, where it says on the Ohio license plates, "Let's tape up your tits and tango." And then the two women dance away, and Renee is just
flabbergasted. Yeah,
flabbergasted is the word. She whispered something, and I couldn't hear it, and it was driving me nuts.
I don't think she was whispering, unfortunately. I think AEW was having some audio issues.
Her mouth was moving.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying she wasn't speaking.
Oh, you think they cut the mic off?
I think the mics were off, because even Windsor, her, oh my God, I'm doing it too. Even that was very low.
Yeah.
So I think AEW was having some issues, but yeah, I was killing me that I didn't know what Renee said. It was going to be funny.
Renee was in a lot of stuff tonight. They had So they had Shivani at the desk instead of getting up and interviewing. So Renee was in the ring. She was backstage. She was in the parking lot. She was all over the place. We'll get to her being in the parking lot in a second. And she was great all over the place.
Yeah.
So,
They also gave Alicia a bit to do tonight too. So that's cool.
Yep.
I'm glad that they're utilizing her a good bit as well.
Yeah, because Lexi wasn't there. So
yeah.
Although the last time I saw Lexi was with Tony Storm when she like dove across that bar and did the spin on the top of it.
Our boy Marvez has just been gone.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with him. I know he's done a lot of other things, you know, in his life. But yeah, we haven't seen Scoops in a while.
Yeah.
Say hello to Fernando, who called this
man?
promo from Timeless absolute fire, as is everything she does at this point. Girl hasn't missed in like 2 years. So anyway, as I was saying, Renee was out in the parking lot before Dynamite as one Mercedes Moné arrived in a limousine and eating watermelon for some reason. And Renee is out there to congratulate her on winning yet another title belt. I believe she won the belt out in a Polish promotion, which cool.
Yeah. Anything to get a belt.
Yeah.
She's running out of places to go.
Yeah, but they mentioned the promotion's name on TV, and it was all over Reddit the other week, and I'm assuming all over Twitter and other places. So that's great promotion for that.
No, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Anyway, Renee then turns to All In, saying that, this was one of the greatest women's matches of all time before we even had the match, and then it lived up to the hype. But, Mercedes, you did lose. How do you feel coming out of it? And before Renee can even really finish the question, Mercedes just lowers the mic and tells Renee to not be such a mark.
I took offense. I took great offense.
So did I. Also, I liked Mercedes' hair. It was wavy, it was like her normal hair color, but she had some brown highlights in it. I liked it.
I like Mercedes in general, so I understand.
Me too. But it was just, different. She's always, not always, but she's had the very colorful hair on screens for the last, year or whatever.
Years.
Yeah, but so occasionally you'll see her regular color hair, and this feels like the first time in a while on TV at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, we then moved into that four-way match, which I didn't even bother writing what the hell it was for because it was too confusing. Anyway, it was Alex Windsor versus Queen Aminata versus Skye Blue versus Billie Starkz. You had Athena accompanying Billie to the ring, and that led Tony to come out and be in the corner for Windsor in order to counter Athena, which ended up paying off. But to jump to the end of the match, outside of the ring, Skye Blue got taken out by Queen Aminata after Aminata, I will politely say, reversed a code blue that was supposed to be into a chair, hitting Skye's head off of the chair before hitting what I believe was a fisherman buster into said chair, and that effectively took both women out. Back in the ring, Billie and Windsor were going back and forth until Athena got involved to tip the scales for Billie, and that caused Tony to come over and just throw her into the barricade to much applause. Back in the ring still, Billie attempted a suplex, but Windsor was able to counter that into a roll-up, and she was able to keep Starkz down for the 3 and the win. After the match, Mercedes came down to the ring and went face-to-face with Windsor, with Windsor's back turned to the rest of the ring as Mercedes was in the corner. And Mercedes also had to have Aubrey take all of her belts, which is funny. The two were talking shit, and then Tony took off her garb, which looked like the celebrity trying to not be disguised thing. She had the bandana on her head and the big glasses and the trench coat, and to reveal she was in her wrestling gear, and slowly began to enter to ring to have Windsor's back. But as she was doing so, Athena snuck up behind her, went to the top rope, and hit her with a surprise O-face, taking Tony out. Also, surprise O-face, great name for a band. You should write that down. Windsor then turned her back on Mercedes to go and check on Tony, but Moné took advantage and hit a backstabber on Windsor. Mercedes and Athena then had a brief stare down in the middle of the ring, but decided that they should go their separate ways as they had each taken out who they had come to get. So, James, I really liked the match.
Yeah.
Thought the crowd wasn't as into it as they should have been. Don't know why.
Fortunate.
Yeah, but even then, they warmed up to it a lot towards the end. Unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, but the biggest pop was for Tony throughout the whole thing. So,
well,
really loved it though.
Look at the players involved. Unfortunately, Aminata is probably the best known property of the four, either her or Skye Blue.
Yeah, in terms of AEW, I would say
yes.
so. And Aminata's been probably one of the hottest like up and coming people in the women's division.
Yeah,
recently.
Billie is still new to the scene, being a Ring of Honor girl, and Windsor really was starting to catch wind, starting to build the popularity while she was in Chicago. And they spent like 3 weeks in Chicago. So the pops were getting bigger for her there. But now that they're in a new market, she's still a relatively fresh face to the AEW scene. So I understand there not being a lot of support for them. It's unfortunate because they're all great. They're all great and they all deserve it. But I get the unfortunate circumstances that led to it. I thought the match was a lot of fun. Tekla came out to support Skye Blue, didn't she? Or did I make that up? I thought
during the match or in the beginning?
In the beginning.
I think Skye came out on her own.
Okay. I don't know why I thought she was there, but maybe
I didn't see her or Julia. So.
I think I heard commentary talking about her, so I think I just put 2 and 2 together there and I added 5. But the match was a lot of fun. I'm really, really, really into Windsor, and I'm really intrigued to see if she's only getting this much TV time because Ospreay's gone. And I'm really gonna be sad if she loses it when he comes back.
Because one of them's got to be home.
Yeah, like I'm genuinely afraid of that happening. But I'm really digging her. She has great chemistry with Tony. She is really entertaining in the ring. She's really fun to watch in the ring. And I think with a little more time, she's really going to catch on with the crowd. So I'm really into Windsor. Aminata is a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that she got a little more later to do tonight, and we'll talk about it. Skye Blue, my girl, I feel like she's always on the cusp of like getting to another level, but she just hasn't hit it quite yet.
Yeah, well, she was out for so long.
Yeah,
she had that really bad injury.
Of course. So I'm hoping she gets that footing back. And Billie's just awesome. I feel like a proud fan to watch her like thriving in these situations as someone who's been watching her since Ring of Honor.
Yeah, you've been ground floor on Billie Starkz.
Yeah. So I this was just a fun match to watch. The outcome at the end, I'm intrigued because Athena versus Mercedes still just feels like such a money match. And I'm still to me, there's no reason that match happened in the tournament. I think it was such a waste.
I agree.
Such a waste to have it in the tournament. So that brief little interaction at the end was a lot of fun.
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
How's your bed?
Yeah, I'm going to go to bed soon. What are you up to?
We were just talking about the women's four-way match.
That's a fun one. I'll listen.
You're just going to sit there and listen live?
I'll chime in.
Matt, you are the definition of when I think I have all the answers, you change the question. So thank you, I suppose. Okay. Hi, everybody. Matt Casco joining us here tonight. But yeah, I really enjoyed the matchup for what it was. I enjoyed the aftermath, and I think that pretty much everyone looked good.
Yeah.
And I think what we're leading to is exciting. And I really like the fact that it doesn't seem like Mercedes is losing that TBS title anytime soon.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Like you said, I think everyone looked good, like you said. You know it. Oh, thanks, dude. Hello, can you hear me? It's hello, stupid technology. It worked, dude. Thank you.
We appreciate that. I feel bad if you did that because you were getting comments through.
Well, it's working now.
Yeah,
someone gave us $5?
Yeah, you know it. Hook us up. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it a lot.
It's because I showed up. That's
absolutely.
To get into some of the other comments here, Maria's really liking Alex and saying she's going to be a big deal really soon. But it is time to talk about the return of her CEO. And that definitely does help spice things up.
Yeah.
As we head to that 4-way match at Forbidden Door. So I'm excited about that match just because I think there's going to be a lot of cool talent in it as well. And Maria, I am also a big fan of her wearing all of the belts and then have Aubrey take all of them off one by one.
I think it's such a fun touch too that she's still wearing the Owen Hart belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to, I guess. Like, she's going to be the Owen winner for the next year anyway. Like, she might as well hold on to it. But it really adds to that gimmick for her. So I thought it was a cool little touch.
I think the only reason you would get rid of it is if you were to win, if she beat Toni Storm, then it's kind of like you upgrade.
I think she would still wear it the same way Okada is still holding the Continental and the International on top of the unified belt. I just think it's like, look how shiny I am.
Yeah. It's just so she can be 8 belts Moné instead of 7. But the gimmick is working.
Speaking of all these belts, like what's going to happen with I'm about to say all these different names. Dustin, isn't he like still the tag champ and the trios champ?
I'm very intrigued by that too. We're going to talk about that in a minute when we get to the Fletcher promo.
Cool,
but I have that in the back of my mind too. And Sammy, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. I just want to have one more note on this match because, James, you did bring her up in Skye Blue. And I do like her a lot in the ring, but I feel like she has a really hard time getting into that setup for the Code Blue.
Yes, I agree.
To the point where I think she should just go for the regular setup for the Code Red right now. Like, it looked cool, especially, like, weirdly enough, when she was first coming up and doing it, she was hitting it all the time. And now, like, she's weirdly having a harder and harder time hitting it. I feel like every time she's tried to do it. But I think at this point, maybe just go regular Code Red.
It's funny. It's funny because the person who obviously made the Code Red what it is Amazing Red, and like his very existence contradicts what I'm about to say. But I think it's because of how short Blue is that she struggles with the move and struggles with the setup of it, despite Amazing Red being one of the smaller wrestling stars of his era. So I don't know what it is, but I agree with you. She might want to just bring it back down to basic for a bit.
Yeah. Counterpoint, Zelina Vega does it, and she's also very short. I mean, Red gifted it to her. So
Skye Blue, I'm sorry to tell you that Rev just told you to go fuck yourself. I don't know why he felt the need to embarrass you, but he did, and he compared you like society dictates, men comparing women to other women to bring them down. I don't know why, but HR will deal with Rev soon.
Perhaps it was because it was Queen Aminata. Like, she tried to do it on the chair, and there was that was my only real complaint from the match. And you know me, I'm a big supporter of Skye Blue, despite how short she is, which I have no problem with. It just felt like you guys were giving her a hard time. But yeah, that chair spot was kind of like they salvaged it, but her setup for that was kind of, Matt needs to take this seriously. I've been doing all kinds of stuff for the pod. Like, I have a 5-minute interview with the New Day that we're going to be posting soon. So
yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Matt, you have been killing it. You have been killing it on the scene.
I lost my job today. It's been a long day. But
so thank you. We need that $5 now more than ever.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
And I think this was also a good introduction to what's her face, the British gal from Rev Pro.
Alex
Windsor.
Yeah, I had never seen or heard of her before, so I think
you see what I'm saying, Rev?
Yeah, she's been on Dynamite the last few weeks, but
I had
Collision as well.
Yeah. You proved my point, Matt. I was saying that she's still, even though she was starting to build a little bit of traction in Chicago because they were there for so many weeks, she's still a relatively new face to the scene, which is why this match didn't get quite the reaction that it should have gotten.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that was part of it.
I loved all the competitors in it. I'm like, ooh, this will be a fun match. And it was. So, like, brava to these ladies.
Absolutely. Dan, with just the 1-2 punch combo, that's just perfect. Rev is colorblind. Skye Blue is nobody to him.
I always confuse her with Skye Purple. really fucking bad.
I will pay on the pod to have a doctor diagnose you as colorblind.
Sure.
I will pay to do it.
Can't go to a walk-in clinic?
No, I believe that he has done it, but we need it videotaped for posterity. We need it for proof.
I mean, I've taken and failed the test in front of you before, right?
No, not in front. All right, you telling me you see a different color than what's there isn't failing a test.
That's the test.
It's the long game of the ruse you're pulling on me.
I really like people think this is a ruse. Like, I literally have to occasionally call people to help me dress myself, and you guys think I'm kidding. Because I don't know if these certain colors match or not, and I gotta be like, hey, does this go with this? And you guys just think I'm fucking around. No, I'm colorblind. This is legitimate.
You know it, asking the serious questions. Can you take anybody serious who chats laying down? And, that's a fair question. That's a fair question. But I think, Matt, go ahead, Matt, defend yourself.
I can do a lot of things, and this is how
Never mind. I don't want to know what else you could do laying down. We're just going to move forward.
Yeah, let me just keep it rolling here. Up next,
Matt, never mind. Nope.
Up next, we had a backstage interview with the Young Bucks, and Renee asked the Bucks about their opponents tonight in Brodido. But the Bucks get upset when Renee is quote unquote disrespecting them because she's talking about how good this new team has been and the sick moves they're using and everything. So they're mad at her, and then Matt gets distracted by the production guy, aka Charlie from Sammy's vlog, who put them in the shitty locker room a few weeks ago. You didn't realize that's Charlie from Sammy's vlog?
No, that wasn't it. That was it. Yeah, no, I noticed it. I'm glad he's back on TV.
Yeah, he's always funny when he's on TV. Anyway, they call him out for giving them that shitty locker room and for them getting jobber entrances the last couple of weeks. So the Bucks then demand that they get their full entrance, their full theme, and a proper announcement from Justin Roberts, giving Charlie a note to give to Justin about how their announcement should be made. And then Charlie runs off with it, and Matt once again says that everyone around there is so damn fickle. That led to our next segment, which was an in-ring interview with Kyle Fletcher, the new TNT champion, as he defeated Dustin Rhodes in a very good street fight last week. I've seen the highlights. I want to watch that thing in its entirety. Again, as James mentioned, Dustin is out. He has to go get double knee replacement surgery. So hopefully those are successful. And he said he wants to come back. So prayers up to him. Anyway, Fletcher came down with the rest of the Don Callis family, or a good chunk of it, including that Cardi piece of shit himself, Don Callis, who immediately interrupted Renee's question to Fletcher by saying the question she should be asking is, why is he assembling the largest numerical faction in all of wrestling? And Don says that the reason is power, because between Okada aligning himself with the family and bringing 3 belts in tow, and now Kyle winning the TNT championship, they're continuing to accumulate a lot of power. Kyle then gets on the mic saying Dustin deserved what happened to him last week for 1, stealing his all-in moment, and 2, for thinking he could be in the same ring as Kyle at 60 years old. Fletcher then jokes that Dustin isn't the only crowd favorite that he's put on the shelf, asking if anyone thinks we're ever going to see Adam Cole again. And while Fletcher thinks he's achieved his destiny of winning the TNT championship, he's still going to go beyond his destiny and become the greatest TNT champion of all time, and then eventually the greatest wrestler of all time. Don then gets back on the mic saying he knows Kyle is going to go on to become the greatest, and when you're the greatest, people go on to build monuments to you. And after getting Kyle to beg Don to take it off, which reminded me a lot of him and Kenny.
69 you have.
Don, why me? Don reveals his new painting with a jacked Don and Kyle displaying the TNT championship.
Kyle only wearing the TNT championship.
Yeah, good point. His strategically placed title. Fletcher loves it, calling it the greatest gift he's ever received. But even still, he wants to make Don and the family proud, so he announces that he will have his first title defense this Saturday on Collision, where he will again have his hand raised, a sight that everyone should get used to seeing. And then at the end of the night, when Excalibur was running down the card for Saturday, it was announced that Fletcher would be going up against Tomohiro Ishii, which is a great first matchup for Fletcher in this title reign. So, James, this was great. It was equal parts funny and heel. The crowd was nonstop booing the entire time, raising the volume extra for Don. And just a great heel promo out of these guys. And the paintings are always just chef's kiss funny from Don.
The paintings are one of my favorite recurring bits in AEW.
We haven't seen it in a while either.
We haven't. I know that we had the Jericho one, the Kenny one. I think we had an Osprey one.
The last one was the Sammy one.
Sammy. Sammy. That was good memory, Matt.
That lasted a long time.
Right? I love it. It's always fun. And this is always a great reminder that often wrestling is at its best when it's kind of gay. And
Tony Storm, dude.
Absolutely. We were at when I was at SummerSlam both nights, they had the kiss cam going on.
Really?
Night 1, night 2. And it was, if it was a good kiss, it was fresh. If it was a bad kiss, it was bad breath. Like it was they did.
I was going to say it was sponsored by a certain mint company.
I'll be honest. I am like addicted to like this like crystal breath thing that they were selling. Like I am jonesing for this shit because I cannot find it right now out on the market. But regardless,
I do every time I say no free ads, James immediately gives the ad that I was trying to avoid.
I liked the thing. I can't help it. I liked it. But anyway, it got really hot and heavy. These couples were like yowie wowie. But
any gay couples, or were they all straight? Any gay couples?
Well, so on the second night,
he's getting.
On the second night, in the middle of it, they go to two women who kiss, and the crowd, yeah. But then he gets to three guys, and the guys just fucking go at it. And it was awesome. It was amazing. Like, I don't know if they like full on made mouth to mouth contact, but they sold it like it was just like this beautiful thing. And the crowd went fucking nuts for it.
Do you think they were plants, or do you think they were?
No. None of them. Because on
Is that company?
On the second night, the cameraman was screwing up a lot. Like he was putting the camera on two people that were sitting next to each other when the person that was in the couple was just off camera.
Yeah.
So like they were looking for stuff. They found three guys who sold the hell out of it. So remember that, everybody. Wrestling is at its best when it's kind of gay. This wasn't even a tangent. It was part of what I was talking about.
It got long enough, it became a tangent.
I feel attacked. But I love this. Fletcher is being positioned beautifully. We know who the ace of the group is. It's Takeshita. We know right now who the figurehead of the group is, and that's Okada. But Fletcher is the future of the group. He is the future. He is why this group exists right now. Truly, he is why this group exists. I think if the group disbanded, Takeshita would be fine. We know Okada would be fine. But this group is positioned the way it is to set Fletcher up for absolute greatness. And they're just killing it right now. The Adam Cole line was great because to me, I think it's a sign that things might be looking good. I don't think he would say something like that if it wasn't part of, maybe a hopeful sign down the road. Dustin, look, it's a friggin' bummer. 56 years old, double knee surgery. He wants to come back to wrestling. Not surgery, double knee replacement. And he wants to come back to wrestling. God bless him. I'm rooting for him. They were setting up something between him and Sammy Guevara. I know they were setting something up between them because Sammy was not happy about him winning the TNT title. After he lost the title to Fletcher, he tweeted something like, okay, well, that's that. That, something along the lines of, well, all right, glad that's over. And it's very clear they were building to something. I think there would be some money in just having him join the Von Erichs to interim hold that title for Dustin, but immediately lose. I don't know what you do with Sammy, but regardless of all that, really enjoyed this bit. Really enjoyed these guys, and I'm just all in on Fletcher. All in on Fletcher.
Yeah, Fletcher has become, especially since his turn from Ospreay, I think obviously he's proven himself to be one of the best young wrestlers in the company, but his promos are getting better because Maria makes a good point. This might have been his best promo in his singles career. Like, it was that good. He has gotten so confident on the microphone. Not that I don't think he ever was, but I think he's really found the character and been able to become a lot better on the mic now.
I'd agree.
Matt.
I was waiting for my turn.
I said, never mind. I threw it at you at the end there, but.
Okay. I guess this is only a minor complaint, but I didn't like that they did a backstage segment with Renee, and then the next segment is Renee's in the ring. Like, couldn't they have just been like, "Oh, this happened earlier"?
They did.
Nick Jackson.
I'm pretty sure they mentioned Renee caught up with the Young Bucks earlier in the night.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's why Excalibur laughed at. They was like, "Oh, and Renee's right back."
Okay. Regardless, yeah, I think this is a good segment. I do wonder, there weren't a whole lot of guys in the ring. Like, he's like, "Oh, I'm assembling the biggest group," and I'm like, "Okay, so where's the other guys? We got Trent, we've got the other,
Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky. Is Brian Cage with them?
He's hurt.
Yes, but
He's hurt. Okay, that's what my guess was. Who was the bald guy? Was that
Josh Alexander?
Oh,
Yeah,
that was Alexander. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. You don't really see him a lot in suits and shades like that, but Alexander was out there, Archer was out there, Ichishiro was out there, obviously along with Don and Kyle. And Takeshita is in Japan for the G1 right now.
So that's 8 guys. That's 9 guys. 9 guys in the group right now, not including Don himself.
And is Fletcher's old partner still in the group or no?
Technically, so that's 10.
I think he got hurt again.
He's also hurt. So yeah.
Did we count Okada? My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It was even a loose affiliation, but
yeah. So I like this a lot. The only thing I would say, I'm annoyed, and it doesn't have to even do with this segment specifically. I think that Dustin should have lost the tag titles and the trio, at least one of the two, the tag titles or the trios titles, a while ago. Like, he's held them, I think, like a year or something. Like, just an insanely long amount of time.
I'm never offended by it. You are right, Matt, but I'm never offended by it because just how much of an afterthought Ring of Honor is. And Dustin is a guy who still makes the occasional appearance on AEW TV. So for him to come out holding some gold, or I guess in that case some silver, is, it's a nice way of putting some shine on him. And really, it was more about building up his partners. Those belts weren't about Dustin. They were about building up Sammy Guevara back. They were about building up the Von Erich kids. And what are they going to do otherwise? Like,
Eminem, whatever, the Maximum Male Models, those guys are out.
Yeah.
They were super over and have not gotten titles yet.
I agree.
So
they could get them now. I could see them getting them, and the Dark Order starting to get a push again. Maybe we get the Dark Order.
From your lips to God's ears. From your lips to God's ears, Rev.
You see Aaron Solo try to join them the other day?
Oh, man.
Did you see that promo?
No, I didn't. But can you imagine? Go ahead.
So the Dark Order was cutting a promo, and like as they're finishing it, Solo just does this from behind them and just pops up, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Can I join you guys?" And they're like, "No, we're not. We don't want anybody to join us right now." And he's like, "You literally join us on your shirts, and your theme song says it like 1,000 times." And they're just like, "No, dude, like you're not. You're just not a good fit. Those guys, they would be good." And he's like, "Who?" He's like, "Those guys. You should go talk to those guys. But we got to go right now. So go talk to them." And then he's just like, "Who?" And then they leave, and he's just like, "All right, I could take a hint." So I don't know what Solo's doing, but just their interaction was so fucking funny.
Being the first person denied entry to the Dark Order is something special in its own right.
Griff Garrison kind of got denied.
I don't know. They didn't know who he was.
That's fair. I thought he was drunk.
So,
I know I asked a lot of questions, but my question is, who did the painting? I really hope it wasn't AI. You know what it looked like? It looked like the artist who did the Iron Man Extremist book. Do you remember that one?
All right, I do know what you're saying. Yeah, yes, I know the artist you're speaking of. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but this art is pretty in line with pretty much all the other paintings, if I remember correctly. So if this is AI, they're all AI, but I don't think so.
Because we started doing them years ago, though, before AI was like this, the way we have it now.
Yeah,
annoying.
Have the Iron Man book. I'll be like, it's literally right behind me. Give me a second.
As he's doing that, let's hit some of the comments. Danny's saying we're all Fletchlights now. I mean, we've been Fletchlights.
We've always been Fletchlights.
Fernando saying that Don is one of the best at getting heat in all of wrestling. He is. He just has to walk out there, and he's getting booed. And Fernando also saying, I think Fletcher is already the leader and is going to start having friction with Takeshita and eventually gets kicked out by Don and Fletcher. I think, eventually Takeshita will be able to go out on his own. It's tough with Takeshita. I don't want to say, but he's got 3 or 4 different contracts at this point. So he's traveling a lot. He's, going for a lot of promotions. So having him being able to come back and kind of slide right back into the family is a bit easier than, having him return his face every time. But it could also work. Either way, I do think this, the family, this faction was originally built for Takeshita. And now Takeshita is elevated enough. And he is, I think, you're right, James, probably the top guy of the faction as we see the Iron Man art there. It does look similar.
It's
Not as much as
painting style.
but a little bit.
Yeah.
And let me get the artist name. Give me a sec. The artist name is... Ooh.
I looked it up.
Oh, well, who was it?
Adi Granov.
For the painting?
Yeah, for Iron Man.
Oh, for Iron Man. Oh.
Yeah.
It's a cool book, though. Cool looking book.
If it's the same artist, let us know.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
But as I was saying, I think Takeshita, you're right, James, is at the top of the family right now. But with him being gone, you could, A, easily slide Fletcher into that role, especially because he just won the title.
Yeah.
But B, the family now is for helping to elevate Fletcher, and they're doing a great job with that.
Yeah, strong agree.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling here. We got stuck there for a while. After this, we had a quick recap package of Adam Copeland going after FTR and Stokely with all that nonsense before we got an interview backstage with Cope himself. And Alicia asked him about Christian's quote-unquote apology and him getting taken out last week. And Copeland says that Christian clearly learned nothing, and he's just continuing to be an asshole. But as Christian has his hands full with Wayne and Sabian, Copeland himself has his hands full with FTR. And while he can't get within 200 feet of them, that then works both ways, which allowed him to go see Tony Khan and get a match next week against Stokely. So now FTR have a choice. Either they throw Stokely to the Wolf, and the Wolf will hurt Stokely, or they interfere in the match to save Stokely and then have their restraining order become null and void.
I love the wrestling logic of Tony Khan can make stipulations to a legal document based off of what happens in a match.
So I thought the quote-unquote restraining order was from Tony, not from the government.
But first of all, I can't imagine Tony would give it to them. Second of all, what's happening?
Well, it's not that the match has a stipulation. It's just that if FTR break the restraining order on their own, then it becomes null and void. And Copeland is trying to bait them into doing so by having this match. The match doesn't actually, if Copeland wins, the restraining order doesn't go away. It's only if FTR is joined.
The implication was that after the match is over, they're going to get involved. That was the implication I took.
And yes, and if they do so, then the restraining order is lifted because they would void it themselves.
I don't know. Something's fishy.
Standing order is like if you have to stay a certain amount of feet away from me, if I start walking towards you, then you have to back up. And if you don't, then like that's on you, with like a few exceptions. But I guess if Adam has a match, then that's the exception. Like,
I think it's because they're choosing to be in Stokely's corner. I think that's what it is. I just find the whole thing to be silly.
Yeah, it's wrestling. Like, that's the rule. Like, they can't be within 200 feet of each other, and neither of them can break that rule. That's the point here. And Copeland is trying to bait them into breaking the rule by having the match and kicking the shit out of Stokely. That's the premise here.
Yeah.
After this, we went to our next match. We saw the Young Bucks face off against Bandido and Brody King, a.k.a. Brodido, in a semifinal match of the AEW World Tag Team Eliminator Tournament. God, I love saying that. So the Young Bucks had their entrance again. This time,
they didn't have their entrance.
Well,
someone else had their entrance.
They had an entrance again, and it started normally, but then the Tron, as it was coming up, got stuck. So they had to crawl under it, which led to the Bucks yelling and screaming about it. And then Justin Roberts, instead of giving them a proper announcement, just read the note card that he had been passed by the Bucks verbatim, saying, you know, things like, you will introduce our names properly. You will say our weight. You will say where we are from. And then, as they were like, all right, whatever, they set up for their pose. And instead of getting the Bucks, you know, the money shot into the air, they just got the two sound effects that they would get, and then got like two Orange Cassidy style like bottle rockets going across the stage. That led to them getting their Comic Sans Tron back and like an ice cream truck song for a theme. And then in the pièce de résistance, their graphic said that they were Max and Jeremy, a.k.a. Generation Me, which was the deepest pull, and I'm sure something James appreciated immensely.
I did too. I wonder if TNA still has the Generation Me
trademarked.
I'm sure they do, which is why they didn't actually write Generation Me on it. They just put Max and Jeremy. But both of those things were trending after it happened. People loved this.
My God. I love what they're doing with the Bucks. It needs to be said. They are doing such a great job with the Bucks right now. It's hard to see the bigger picture of where they go, but I was reading an interview, or at least a quote from Matt earlier today.
Yeah, same.
He said something along the lines of like his family and his friends will come up to him and they'll say like, I'm sorry, like, aren't you embarrassed with everything you're going through? And he says, I love this part of the job. I love being in a situation where we're being made fun of and we're being ridiculed and humiliated, because it's such a challenging aspect of the job that so many people don't want to do. So we take pride in being able to do it well. And I love that. I love that. I've always loved the Bucks, and I'm rooting for like this perception return, because man, their image has been in the gutter basically since Brawl Out.
Here, I got the quote if you'd like it.
Yeah.
So my mother-in-law and kids specifically, when they tell me how embarrassed they are for me, I can't help but laugh when I tell them that this was our idea, says Matt Jackson. We're born to play these types of roles. Many wrestlers in the business prefer not to take on these types of stories, which immediately makes us more interested in doing them. I think there is a charm in being self-deprecating. There's also a skill in being funny, but still being able to go in the ring at the same time. Kurt Angle is a great example of that. I think it makes you more of an all-around entertaining wrestler. So yeah, great stuff from him. He's having a great time. Another quote from him there. We're on a massive win streak right now, and I'm not talking about wins and losses in the ring. And another thing he pointed out, which is something I mentioned last week, him and Nick, he said we've slimmed down. We're in the best shape we've been in years.
They look great.
Yeah. So whatever they're doing, keep doing it right now. It is hilarious, and it's helping people really, I think, it's helping the Bucks win people back over. Like anybody who hadn't really come back around on them, it's definitely helping.
Absolutely, absolutely. Quick note, met Kurt Angle at WrestleCon. He was great. There's a picture on our Instagram of him holding a Lego Kurt Angle. Did Matt or did Max or Jeremy ever have to wear the turkey suit in TNA? I remember Alex Shelley did. I feel like one of them might have had to wear the turkey suit.
I don't recall. I think it's one of those once a year things, and they weren't in TNA that long that I think they'd be the guys they'd put the turkey suit on. But yeah, that's a good question. I'll look it up. But my gut says no, they didn't.
Yeah, that's before my time. Just another note on the entrance, saying the Bucks have always been on the better side of creativity with their entrances, which is true. And then now they're probably planning all of this stuff out, it's just probably Nick on the flight over, just like laughing at shit and making all these graphics. Maria also saying these segments with the Bucks are awesome, laughing that it's all CM Punk's fault, which I guess that's kind of true.
The Bucks are very good, very, very creative, but they're also like very open to ideas. I remember one time in Ring of Honor, I brought like a very large Bullet Club banner, and at the meet and greet beforehand, I'm like, "Hey, like if I roll this out for your entrance, will you kick through it?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, no, I've always loved the Bucks, and I think at their core, they're still the same guys. Maria saying in the comments, AJ Styles wore the turkey suit. So maybe that's where the Bullet Club connection came in, because I just looked it up. I didn't see anything on them wearing the turkey suit.
Cool. Right. Just thinking Alex Shelley, I think Alex Shelley, I think the Machine Guns, you think of the Bucks, they're kind of intertwined.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's get into the match here. Jump towards the end of it a little bit. After Brodido took too long, they hit their catapult front flip, and Bandido just wiped out. The Bucks, completely. The Bucks have themselves a super kick party, ending with Bandido getting hit with a Canadian Destroyer, that top rope drop power slam thing into Brody King, and then a TK driver, but Brody was able to recover and break that up. After a little bit more fighting on the outside, you had Bandido and Nick one-on-one up on top of the barricade, which ended in Bandido pressing Nick while standing up there and tossing him onto Matt, and then Bandido getting Matt into the ring because he was the legal man and hitting him with an X-knee and a 21 plex, but Nick came in to break that up. Brody then tossed Nick out of the ring before hitting him with a tope suicida, while Bandido brought Matt up to the top rope and hit him with, I think Excalibur called a gut blockbuster, but it was basically like an avalanche backflip crossbody. Either way, it looked really cool. Matt was able to kick out of that, and then Brody got back into the ring and again set up for that catapult 360 splash, hitting it on Matt for the win. And Brodido upsets the Bucks to advance to the finals of this tag eliminator tournament. This match, James.
No, go to Matt first. All
right, well, Matt, you can go. We'll go to you first. One of the other big spots, just to mention it, that I love was Brody launching Bandido via the second rope to the outside onto the Bucks, because Bandido got about 20 feet of air off of that. But this was just pure Reseda, a real PWG feeling match. A lot of great false finishes. And again, I think a bit of an upset here with Brodido moving on, because I think so many people expected Bucks FTR again. And instead, we get a fresh new tag team, one they're building very well here after months of us saying that the tag team needed a resurgence, and they get to go up against FTR.
Yeah, no, this is actually why I jumped on the pod tonight, because I wanted to talk about this match. It was my favorite match of the night. I've been doing so much for the pod with the pod, but not necessarily just watching episodes of wrestling and reviewing it on the pod. But
you've been at stuff, so
so this was the first time that I got to see Brodido, and I loved it. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Bandido personally. I think he's very talented, but I don't feel like a strong emotional connection to him. But it's great that he's got this kind of team, this kind of strange bedfellows, odd couple team that just seem to be really in sync with each other and have a fun, silly combo nickname. And they really killed it tonight. And yeah, you're right, probably the underdog team, but I wasn't really in the mood to see FTR take on the Young Bucks again, especially since they're both heel. So it didn't surprise me that that Brodido won. I think it is the right choice, even though I'm sure the Bucks and FTR would kill it. I just think this is more interesting. It's certainly fresher, and I really hope Brodido go on to win it. I mean, we've been hearing these rumors about, maybe some heat, backstage heat with the Hurt Business, not wanting to put the tag titles back on FTR, having issues with Speedball, Mike Bailey.
Yeah, that one I think is bullshit because they already did a video today backstage. So,
Which it was just a weird video. Like I get what they were doing, but like I just didn't find it all that entertaining. Like
I thought it was funny.
I mean, it was fine, but it just seems strange. But I think I don't even think necessarily the Hurt Business need to lose the titles yet, but it feels like they want to do something with the singles, goal for Bobby Lashley. And I think if you want to do that, you should probably have them lose the titles first. And I would love it to be against a fresh new team like Bandido and Brody King. So we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I really love this match, though. It was a lot of fun. So many fun spots. Shout out to the dad in the first row who was like on his feet having a blast watching Nick and Bandido balancing on the guardrail and giving each other super kicks while also watching out for his teenage son. He was a balancing act for both the wrestlers and the father, and everyone was killing it. Kudos to those three men and the other two guys in the tag match. So lots of fun to be had.
Yeah, I adored this match, and I'm just loving the Bucks run. I know we were talking about, their entrances and everything recently, but their in-ring work since coming back, especially since losing the EVP moniker and in this tournament, has been great. So I'm loving their in-ring work because, again, they're just kind of doing like PWG matches with their friends, and they're having a great time doing them. And you can see how happy I think they are doing these matches. They are having so much fun, especially, going back to those quotes we referenced before. Spoiler alert, Matt, it's probably going to be FTR at some point getting the tag titles because then eventually we'll have the Edge and Christian match against them. And
well, we talked about in the chat. Does that necessarily have to be for that match, FTR versus ENC? Does that have to be for the tag titles? I would say initially do the first one without the titles. I think that's more interesting, and you could lead up to a tag title match. Even have FTR lose the initial match, but then they go on to win the tag titles, and it's like, oh man, they lost the battle, but it looks like maybe they've won the next battle. Will they win the war?
I get what you're saying, but I agree. I don't think that feud needs the titles. But I don't think it's about the feud needing the titles. I think it's about wanting to put the tag titles on ENC. I think it's about wanting to, especially right now, when we're about to, in October, have a match between the Hardys and the Dudleys, having the AEW tag titles on ENC.
All right. Yeah, I see that now. That's a good point.
So,
plus, you get their name in the lineage and shit like that.
Exactly.
They didn't want to mess it up like they did with the Hardys. Granted, the Hardys.
No, the Hardys messed it up. It breaks my heart to say it.
Yeah, Jeff messed that up for sure.
Yeah, breaks my heart, but it's just the truth. But
we love you, Jeff. But
no, we do.
He knows.
Spade is spade. He's admitted it. I hate how great this matchup was. I hate how good this was. I hate that Brodido is a good team. I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Did you expect anything less? Because I said out the gate, I was like, look, I don't even think they're going to get out of the first round. I was dead wrong at that. But the match is going to be sick. These two guys are too good to not be good.
They shouldn't be a team. One half is the Ring of Honor World Champion. The other half is a guy who is in another tag team. This shouldn't be a tag team. There are other people that could have been in this fucking tournament, but they're so fucking good. It's not right. It's
It's
not right.
strange. I said it earlier. It's strange bedfellows. It's an odd couple. It's like two guys that are just making the most of the situation they've been put in.
But Brodido, by the way, is something that Matt Cardona is fucking kicking himself that he couldn't have come up with. It's so good. It was so good. The match was great. All four of these men were great. There were so many good spots. I love Brody, and I want him to win a singles title so badly. So badly. It's going to happen. Unless Buddy comes back and fucks it up. But it's going to happen. I am shocked that we're having a tag team qualifying tournament in AEW. And the finals are FTR, one of the greatest tag teams in on the scene today, and Brodido. A team that has maybe had 4 matches as a tag team.
I like it.
Me too. I keep smiling. I've been smiling this whole conversation of
It
this.
stresses me out.
Yeah, but it's, dude, I like the unpredictability of it. This team has gotten very over. I mean, both these guys are over on their own, and them joining together have gotten over very quickly. And their chemistry is great, considering, like you said, they've only had 3 or 4 matches together as, I'll say, a unit of a tag team, because they've been tagging a bit in multi-man matches before this.
Yeah.
So
It's been wild.
yeah, I like them together. That finishing move is awesome. Again, Brody launched Bandido.
Yeah.
They've been able to do a lot of cool tag team maneuvers together, and I'm not surprised they went this far. I'm really not. I mean, just like in retrospect, now I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. I am surprised, but in retrospect, I'm like, I think it's very cool that they let them go all the way to the finals. Yep, you finally admitted it. Jeff Hardy was wrong. We have it on tape.
If Jeff can admit it, I can admit it.
That's fair.
Amen. All right, guys, I'm going to let you wrap up the rest of the episode because I'm falling asleep here. But stay tuned, guys. I've definitely got some fun stuff showing up on the Instagram pod. That's Marketdown Pod, at Marketdown Pod on Instagram. Got some interviews and whatnot from my latest escapades on Monday Night Raw. So I'll let you guys take it away from here.
All right. Thanks, Matt. We appreciate you joining. Have a good night, dude.
Good night.
All right, James. After this match, we had the Hurt Syndicate backstage interview with MJF that we had talked about. And then we came back from commercial to a backstage interview with FTR. So Alicia was there to ask about Copeland's match with Stokely. And Dax says that they got the ban not so that Copeland wouldn't hurt them, but so that they wouldn't hurt him, so that his kids could grow up with a father. Cash says
to have a husband.
Yep. Cash says that they can see right through Copeland, him wanting to get to them through Stoke, even saying that Stoke didn't have to show up next weekend, but he is still brave enough to do so. Stoke then steps up to the microphone and says that it shows the type of man that Copeland is, going after a non-wrestler, but it's not like he's never been in a fight before, since he is short, he's bald, and he can't get hosed, which Dax calms it down. He's like, dude, you can get hosed. You're good.
It was such a goddamn good line.
I was very surprised. I wasn't expecting hose, but
He ain't got no hose, Rev. He can't get no hose.
he can get hose. Stoke then continues that while he doesn't want to wrestle, he's still going to show up because his boss told him so, with a smile on his face. And then he is going to smile as he sends Copeland home to his wife, who looks like she has the head of a micro brawler, and to his future juvenile delinquent kids, and tell them that Stokely pinned him in the middle of the ring.
He is diabolical.
Vicious. Is absolutely vicious. After this, we had a quick video package to hype up Swerve Strickland against Kazuchika Okada for the AEW Unified Championship at Forbidden Door. And then that led to an interview with Swerve Strickland out on the ramp area. So Renee asked Swerve about that match at Forbidden Door, and Swerve started off by saying that Don doesn't need to be at ringside for this match, and he's a little confused as to why Don is going to be, especially considering the Continental Championship rules. But the last time Don was at ringside for one of Swerve's matches, Don got knocked on his ass, and Swerve walked away champion, so Don could be out there if he wants to be.
Yep.
As for Okada, Swerve says he may be a once-in-a-generation wrestler, but says that There has never been a wrestler like him, Swerve, and there will never be again. He then goes on to say that Okada's come at him 3 times now, and when he stared into the eyes of Okada, he saw nothing. But he knows he put the fear of God into Okada when he stared back. And now, in order to cement his legacy, Swerve says he's going to go to London, where he's had, some issues in winning, but he also last year had to take out one of his friends in Will Ospreay. He's going to defeat Okada, because if he did that to Ospreay, imagine what he'll do to Okada. Don Callis will cry like a bitch in the corner. He will have his hand raised in front of everybody at the O2 Arena, and they will all chant, "Whose house?"
Swerve's house.
Thank you. It's Ron's house. This interview / promo, James, it was okay. It was kind of a little all over the place.
Yeah, I've noticed that's kind of Swerve's thing in general.
Yeah.
He is a good promo in the sense that he's very passionate and he's very commanding when he's on the mic. But oftentimes it feels like he doesn't know exactly what he's going to say until he says it. It feels like he stumbles on his words here and there. Like he definitely stumbled a couple times during this promo.
Yeah, he lost himself bad at least once.
And I don't ever truly begrudge him for it. What was that?
I said bad for him.
Yeah. I don't ever truly begrudge him for it because he's so, again, the passion and the fire is so evident when he's speaking that, like, you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The quicksand incident.
Yeah, let's start wrapping this up. I said what I needed to say. He, even when he stumbles, he's so good that I don't get caught up in it.
Yeah. And I didn't either. I think he just didn't really have a full through line here, because he went back and forth between Don and Okada and himself and Okada. And it was just I think everything he said was good. I imagine if you could probably restructure it a bit better and it would have come out better, but he hit all his talking points. So it was good. I liked it. And, the crowd loves it. Last thing we got to talk about was after that Mark Briscoe backstage interview, we had another one, this time with Queen Aminata. And Renee went to ask Aminata about her loss in the 4-way match earlier. And she says that she's disappointed that she took the L because she knows that last time they faced off, she really had a good chance of beating Mercedes and felt like she could have beat her if they had faced off again. Willow Nightingale then comes over and tells Aminata that the two of them are going to take care of the Triangle of Madness on Saturday, along with Ty Mello. And as Willow says that name, Chris Statlander comes over and interrupts, cheerfully saying that she is enjoying all of these women supporting women. And after Willow showed up for her last week, and then it's like, Willow, you should give a speech. It's like, do it, give a speech. And both Renee and Willow are like, for real? And Renee's like, I guess, and gives Willow the mic. So Willow takes that and gives a speech saying that Statlander has talked about moving on and working on herself, but she's done everything but that. Whereas Willow says comes out and shows up each week to do 3 things: smile, win matches, and straighten out anyone who gets in the way of that. So when Statlander is ready to take those things seriously, then Stat can talk to her. Statlander responds by going, well, and then throws a bunch of flower petals on top of everyone's heads and runs away. And they're all just like, what the hell just happened? So this is very almost borderline alien goofy ass Statlander. Yeah. I don't know what she's doing. Yeah. I think I need to go see what happened between Willow and Stat on Collision to make a little more sense of this. But I did laugh my ass off.
It was fantastic. The best bit was right before she threw the petals onto Willow and to everybody, the camera cut over to Willow. And it really gets tight on her. And that's because right before it zoomed in on Willow, you see, if you're looking at the screen, Stat puts her hand in Renee's pocket, and it's so she can get the petals.
Oh.
And I was like, what the hell is she doing? Why is she going in her pocket? Like, she's just sliding her hand into her pocket. That's weird. And then I realized, oh my God, it was the petals. So that was just a really funny bit.
I had seen Statlander after Renee gave the mic to Willow, hug Renee and then make her clap her own hands. But I miss her going down into the
Just
pocket.
very smoothly puts her hand in her pocket. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Also, did not know you were going to say pocket there for a second. I thought Statlander was maybe trying to rib Renee.
I thought it was too. I'm like, what is she doing? But now I understood.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I need to see what the hell happened on Collision because I don't know how we went from stay the hell away from me to I'll see what you got to say and Stat just being whatever the hell she's being. The women supporting women line was hysterical because it felt so fake.
Yeah.
Like it felt so disingenuous, but I think it's meant to be legit. So I don't know what the hell that was, but I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah, good. She hasn't been like this goofy and awkward since she was, the galaxy's favorite alien.
And even then, she didn't have that much personality. Too. Yeah, I missed the alien too.
Her personality was she booped people and was with the best friends. And then she kind of dropped the alien thing. And I saw it was on Reddit earlier this week. Like she was squatting Renee during promos for a while.
I remember that. Was so good. That was so good.
So like she's always been goofy, but then when she turned heel and became like serious Stat, we haven't really seen the side of her in a while. So something happened between her yelling at Renee last week in that backstage segment and now, and it was clearly on Collision, and I'm very, very pleased but confused.
Yeah.
Maria's bringing up that they're probably the future first women's world championship. Championship. I think they will be.
They should be.
Yeah.
They should be.
Absolutely. Some other quick comments before we start closing things out. Saying Swerve gets a pass for any word fumble, and that is true because he is far too cool. And Maria says Okada versus Swerve is going to steal the show at Forbidden Door. I can see that happening, especially if Okada's, decides to come out and play.
Yeah. I think someone like Swerve can bring it out of him.
Yeah, I think so too. And Maria saying Queen Aminata is probably going to be the one to take the TBS title from Mercedes, but maybe not anytime soon. And
I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I would be. She's, like I said earlier, she's somebody who, especially with, the rash of injuries you had in the women's mid-card there, came up, really picked up the ball, and she has gotten herself over with both, obviously, backstage and the crowd to the point where they're putting her in prominent positions like they did tonight. She got 2 segments. So, and she's wrestling tonight. She's wrestling again on Saturday. They very clearly are high on Queen Aminata, and I can see her getting some sort of title run maybe sooner than later. We're saying nothing really happened on Collision between the two of them.
That makes it more confusing, and I don't get it, but I have to check. I have to.
All right. Whoops. That was Dynamite. I got to go find my thing here. James, I had a fun time watching this episode. Like I said at the top of the show here, it wasn't necessarily, this big grandiose thing. It was kind of just your standard episode of Dynamite, but your standard episode of Dynamite is always still very good. You had that tag match in the middle, which was phenomenal. You had the match with Moxley and Speedball to help kick off the show. The main event wasn't the best, but you got the brawl at the end of it, which I think kind of helped, save that entire segment. And you got some decent stuff in between as well. And really, you got a lot of character development, I think, for MJF throughout the show.
Yeah,
so
no, I agree.
I like this episode a lot.
Even if not character development, it definitely put it furthered his story a lot.
Yeah, story development is probably a better way to put it.
So I think this episode accomplished what it needed to. It's on paper probably not one of the stronger episodes, but across the board, I was entertained and we moved forward, which is always great. That's what you want out of an episode. You don't want to feel like you watch something and it's like, well, we're in the same place we were last week.
Yeah.
And that does happen sometimes all across all the companies. So I'm glad that not the case here.
I also think, and we kind of talked about this when they happened last year, but they're doing a very good job of continuing storylines and even setting things up for Forbidden Door, despite the fact that the New Japan guys and to an extent the CMLL guys aren't really around at the moment because of the G1. So instead of just being in that holding pattern where the first couple of times they did Forbidden Door, they wouldn't do anything and they would just go out there and have pretty much just have matches and not really advance storylines.
Yeah.
They're still advancing them, but at the same time, they're allowing the freedom to be able to still set up some matches with New Japan and CMLL talents, and I guess, frankly, Stardom talents too, when they do eventually come on over. Maria making a good point. Even though it was a great show, as she said, Dynamite can't always be a 10. That being said, I still think it was, an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, I put it in the 8 category.
Yep. Maria saying that Wardlow's totally coming back to help MJF.
I'm rooting for it, Maria. I'm rooting for it.
And then also saying real quick that the Puppet CEO is also possible next title holder. That will be a tag team. Mercedes and Harley will be a tag team at some point just for the Puppet.
I'm in. Let it happen. Mercedes being the only person to simultaneously hold both belts. Puppet Mercedes and regular Mercedes. That'd
be fun. James, I know you gotta go for real quick, so if you gotta jump, I can close out the show for you.
No, you're good. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Gym Pack Zone. I will be back for it. Awesome stuff coming up. Like Matt said, he got a lot of content. He was invited by Netflix to Monday Night Raw this last Monday, so he has a lot of fun stuff to share. We're gonna have it on here and on social media, and I'll see you guys soon.
All right. So thanks, James. See you tomorrow for the Gym Pack Zone.
Absolutely.
And for the rest of you, I'd like to thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. We'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. If you liked the video, let us know that you're enjoying what we're doing here on the show. And if you subscribe, you continue to get all of the things we put out here on the pod. As James said, we got the Gym Pack Zone tomorrow. Because Raw and SmackDown are not great every week either. Nothing's great every week.
Yeah.
Except for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was great every week. So, be sure to subscribe so you can catch the Gym Pack Zone tomorrow. Obviously, we'll be back here on Wednesday for Dynamite. And we do our best to cover some stuff like WWE, New Japan. I know the G1's going to be wrapping up soon, so maybe we'll try to cover the end of that. And whatever else comes our way in wrestling. If you want to check us out on social media so you can see all the stuff that Matt did over this weekend with SummerSlam and Monday Night Raw, and you're here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Blue Sky. There you go. How did I forget mine? They're all in the description below. The links are, so you can check all of those out there if you're on YouTube. If you're watching us over on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else for that matter, and you want to find some of the other places, Twitter is at marketdown_pod. Instagram is at marketdownpod. YouTube.com/marketdown3665. Or Blue Sky is marketdownpod.bsky.social. Or as always, just search Marketdown Podcast into any of your social media search engines, and they will come up. James, you got any last things before we go?
Love you guys.
All right. So for James Asante and earlier Matt Castone, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Have a good one, everyone.